Hi, everyone. Landry Etheridge here from Etheridge Counseling Group, and I'm joined by Claire Johnson, therapist here in Charleston, who specializes in working with people with body image concerns and disordered eating. Thanks so much for joining us, Claire.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
I'm so excited to talk to you about this topic because I think, we both primarily work with women, and this is just an area that I think at least every woman I've ever met has had to deal with on some level. And then, of course, I've known people who this has been a really big struggle in their lives, and we're coming into the holiday season right now. And I'm curious to hear from you kind of where some of those bigger triggers are as we're entering into this season.
Yeah, so there's a lot of triggers during this time of year. Just meal times, family, all of that.
Mm.
But another one that, is present throughout the year, but also maybe is a little more triggering during the holidays is just social media. So
Mhm.
the holidays is a time where I think it seems like people, really want to portray, the kind of the perfect image. And, so that can be seeing someone, just an image of someone, and it looks like they have a perfect life or a perfect or an ideal body to you, can be really triggering and can bring up feelings of, you know, inadequacy, like low self-worth, just that comparison aspect can be
Mhm.
really hard, and especially during the holidays when it's a really emotionally vulnerable time.
Yeah.
Uh, so I think being aware of your social media use during this time is
Mm.
really important. Trying to maybe unfollow or mute accounts that bring up negative feelings for you or bring up thoughts about your own body or your own eating habits. Just staying away from those, especially during this time, can be helpful.
Mm. I love
And
that
just
you're just kind of giving us permission to do that. Like that's all.
Mhm.
You can
Yeah,
you can unfollow
yeah,
it-
exactly.
for a time or permanently if it's
Yeah.
that you're noticing, hey, I usually don't feel great about myself after that.
Hmm.
But yeah, we have permission to just to not follow, to unfollow, to mute,
Hmm.
because you're right, it is very much a highlights reel.
Hmm.
And so many, of course, images are either real or also altered.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
so it can just feel, yeah, it put us in a really vulnerable, unhealthy headspace
Yeah.
when we're consuming so much social media. So yeah, even limiting it for a period of time.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's I'm sure a huge one. Um, so just curating
Hmm.
what you're consuming.
Yeah, exactly.
What other triggers are should we be aware of during this time of year?
Yeah. So another one is just I kind of mentioned this, but it's an emotionally vulnerable time, and often when disordered eating behaviors um, become more present, it's when we have emotions that we're trying to avoid or trying to manage, and it often manifests in different types of disordered eating. And so paying attention to your emotions during this time is kind of utmost importance. Really taking the time to step away, even if you're with family or whatever you're doing, take time for yourself. Check in to see, okay, how am I feeling? What are these emotions telling me? Um, and rather than just trying to immediately push them away or keep them under control with a eating behavior.
Mhm.
And so just being really mindful about that and continuing to check in with yourself is a good way to avoid falling into um, the kind of the trap of using food to mitigate your emotions.
Yeah, and challenging yourself to feel the emotion
Mhm.
separate from food.
Yeah.
Can I take a walk to burn off some
hmm
adrenaline, or can I sit with some sadness that I'm feeling,
Yeah.
versus sort of numbing out in
hmm
yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. And you're right. I love that you said like it's an emotionally vulnerable time. I've never thought of it in that way, but that is so
Mhm.
true. It is. The holidays are, yeah, it sort of reminds us of people who are no longer there, or aspects
Mhm.
of our family dynamics that make us sad, or you
Yeah.
know, it's a lot of times very high expectations that are
Mhm.
um, things don't work out the way you're expecting them to, or whatever. Traveling, all those things.
Yeah. It kind of brings everything to
Finances.
the surface.
Yeah, everything's going to the surface.
Yeah.
Are there any other I'm thinking, Thanksgiving, we've got all these different holidays, but you know, New Year's too comes to mind too, which there's not necessarily a lot of like food meals that happen around New Year's, but there is sort of that messaging of how are you improving, and
Mhm.
your new body and all of that type of, yeah, what is that? What are triggers around New Year's look like?
Yeah, that can be a very stressful time. I mean, for everyone, but particularly for people who struggle with body image or disordered eating, because so much of it relates to weight loss. A lot of that, it comes
Yeah.
back to that. It's almost like the expectation that, okay, it's the beginning of the year, I have to start going to the gym again, or I have to start dieting, and all of that messaging is can be really, really harmful. So kind of preparing for that and also safeguarding yourself against that messaging of, you don't need to diet, you don't need to, you know, over exercise to lose weight just because that's what a lot of other people are doing around you. And just, sticking to the methods that you're using to keep yourself healthy and mentally and physically. Because yeah, that can be a really challenging
Mhm.
time.
Yeah. Um, yeah, and I think about like the importance of exercise, but not for appearance. Like I will
Mhm.
often encourage clients to start increasing
Yeah.
their movement and exercising daily. But as a therapist, I'm aware of the mental benefits, the psychological
hmm
benefits, and of course there's like physical health benefits, your heart health and
hmm
all of the, your joint health and all of that. But there's just so many benefits to moving that have nothing to do with your appearance.
Absolutely.
And how it can be really helpful to even sticking to a consistent movement routine if you're
hmm
switching the focus off of appearance.
hmm
So you can get really discouraged if every time you look in the mirror, your body hasn't changed the way you want it to. But if you're shifting that focus to, I'm doing this so that my brain is healthy and my heart
hmm
is healthy and my joints are healthy.
Yeah.
Um, I love that. Yeah. Kind
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
switching the focus. Um,
That's a great way to put it. Yeah.
Anything else we should be aware of, or any parting words on this topic of eating disorder triggers over the holidays?
Yeah. I think, just take care of yourself the best you can. Have have grace for yourself. And yeah, I think just be aware that these things may can't come up, but and manage them, the best you can.
Yes, you
And
can.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Um, and Claire, I know would be happy to work with you if you live in the Charleston area, or in South Carolina in general. She can certainly see you via telehealth if you're not in the Charleston area, or in person if you do live in the Charleston area. So, if it's over the holidays or any time of the year and you'd like to kind of dive into some of these things, Claire is available to kind of walk you through that and support you on that journey. Thank you again so much, Claire, for chatting with us and talking to us about this important topic.
Yeah, and I thank you so much for having me. I enjoyed it.